Good morning everyone and welcome back. Sorry about the delay in lectures, but I've recently moved house. And as a result of all the box carrying, I now believe I no longer have a spine. Anyways, we're back to it now, and we can take a look at a very important item from Terraria. Possibly the most important, and I only say that with a modicum of sarcasm. Today we'll cover the Copper Shortsword. The Copper Shortsword is naturally a relatively short blade forged from copper and is the weakest sword in all of Terraria. It is also the first weapon the champion of Terraria wields in their quest to save the world. It has no notable attributes or effects and inflicts a weak knockback. However, it can be swung very fast, giving it some, but not very many, benefits early on. Despite being crafted from metal, the Copper Shortsword is still the weakest sword known to Terraria. Weaker even than the wooden shortsword, which can be crafted almost immediately after arriving in the world, making the Copper Shortsword all but useless. Other than the fact this blade is one of the components required to craft the Zenith, the most powerful sword in Terraria, and a symbol of the wielder's long journey to greatness, there's not a great deal that can be said about the sword itself. It has no special abilities, no effects or debuffs that can be inflicted onto enemies, and no stated history that makes it in any way significant. That said though, it is possible to speculate about whether the copper weapon has importance in some other way. Given what you believe about the origin of a champion, it is possible that the Copper Shortsword, along with an accompanying pick and axe, were the only possessions owned by the champion, or the only ones they could afford, before travelling to the land in which they would conduct their great deeds. Another idea, which ties into the legend's explanation of the champion's origin, suggests that the sword has more of a sentimental value, with it being the guide's very first weapon. The hypothesis posits that the guide would pass this, along with other pieces of his old equipment, onto the would-be champion, effectively his surrogate son, so that they may carry out great feats of their own. The fact that the sword is so weak may, in a way, be the guide's way of implying to the champion that greatness cannot be given, but must be instead earned. And if he were to simply pass down his more powerful equipment, then the champion would not learn what it is to overcome adversity, and as such would never stand a chance against the nightmares they were going to face. As it is then, if this tale is to be believed, then the Copper Shortsword ceases to simply be the worst weapon anyone could ever use, and becomes a family heirloom of sorts, a reminder of where heroes begin, and how far their journey has brought them. While the Copper Shortsword may be seen as all but useless, if legends are to be believed, then it could be an item of great sentimental value, and a symbol of what two heroes have sacrificed in order to save their world. Given that there is no evidence that even remotely suggests any of this, however, the blade must be looked at as quite simply a flimsy sword that would struggle to fend off a slime. As such, there was no choice but to assign the Copper Shortsword an artifact rating of insignificant. So this lecture may be a little shorter than usual, because how much can we really say about the Copper Shortsword? A weapon that is discarded and forgotten about within moments. I mean, the whole thing about it representing some father-son bond, and the journey heroes must go on, is nice and all, but it's still stretching credibility a bit. Still, I guess having something written in a report is better than absolutely nothing. Make sure to subscribe for more course content and become a patron or channel member for early access to my other lecture series, and to vote on what we see next. Have a great week everyone, and I will see you next time.